What's going on, everybody? It's Anthony from hashtag Be the Change. Truth will set you free. Blunt force discussion. Of course, Awake Not Woke clothing. Go to awakenotwokestore.com. Use Awake for 15% off. All right. I've watched some of the shows. I've watched different people talk about the shooter in Allen, and I have to present some things that don't match up with the photos. And you've probably heard them talk about where they found the sourcing, and I'll kind of go through that once I bring the Snopes story up. But I don't believe that these tattoos are even real, to be honest. Based on, I'll bring up some images of what tattoos look like when they're pretty fresh. I think it's incredibly odd. I don't know. It doesn't match up. I'll let you guys be the judge and look at it. Please do me a favor. Share this video, like this video, do all the things with this video, get out there. I put it on also on YouTube. But Facebook is where we get the predominance of our followers. So, guys, do this for me. Tonight in about 45, 50 minutes, my 30-minute blunt force discussion with Clay Clark will be up on Facebook, not on YouTube. It'll be both on the blunt force discussion page and the Truth Will Set You Free page. It got banned from YouTube. So I don't know why it said vaccine misinformation, and I'm letting people join real quick. So keep sharing, but a little fun fact. I posted something about masks today, and there's still, I thought we were good. I thought the pro mask group was just like, maybe I'm going to stop talking about it. But we know they don't work. There are still some maskers that think that it was effective. I can't fix stupid. Even when I play the Fauci clip of the fact that he goes, they maybe had about 10% efficacy. People are now saying, well, he was using a bad study in Bangladesh. Sorry, it's just somebody that commented on my thing. It's just pure and utter stupidity. I see all the comments since I'm on StreamYard. I'm able to do this. So guys, do me one last favor before I get started, because my preference would be to have more people watching. I know it's rush hour right now. If you're in your car, great. If you're on your way home, it's rush hour, depending on East Coast, Central. Let's go ahead and get started. Share it out there. Hopefully people will watch this later. I have some major questions. So the shooter in Allen, again, this is near my house. This is near where I live, not near my house now, but where I used to live. I've been there several times. So this is the Snopes. Snopes did not do exactly their job in proving that they were in any way, shape, or form doing an actual fact check, because there's a lot of issues to where this was found. This is found by a guy that works for a nonprofit that essentially it was like I wonder if it's in the article. I know Steven Crowder did a great job explaining it earlier this morning, as well as Chad Prather and Sarah Gonzalez talked about it as well. I talked to Chad actually earlier today. I'm like, you've got a decent amount of tattoos. I've got one tattoo. Something about this doesn't look right. Am I right or am I wrong? And he's like, it's a new tattoo at best, but he sees my issues with the swastika and the SS of it even being a real tattoo. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit on these. So this is the image that Snopes and has been shared about why this Mexican guy is a white supremacist. I also want to be clear. I went to art school. I was a graphic designer, so I do consider myself somebody that can look at Photoshop from a discerning perspective, from somebody that is educated on the level. So let's read what it says real quick. So Mauricio Garcia, the murderer in at the Allen shops. By the way, they give this rating at 100% true, not even questionable, but true. Opened fire in the parking lot of a mall in Allen, Texas. Yada yada yada. We know this. Heavily armed man. That's right. The investigative outlet is called Bellingcat. So Bellingcat is the. Let's see if they see the guy's name. Bellingcat. Bellingcat is where Bellingcat is where the guy, the journalist that just so happened to find this, who has also found another case about a year ago that was like nobody could find it. He found it right away. So apparently this guy just has a knack for finding this random crap. But he looked at it. He decided to do a search on a Russian language, not a Russian language social media site called OK.ru. OK.ru. Randomly, this Mexican guy whose parents speak no English, who is ex-military, got kicked out for mental health issues, somehow has a social media profile on a fully Russian language site, which might I also add, has no engagement on his images. Zero replies, zero responses, zero whatever. And the Russian, this is a second tier site. This is a second tier site to Facebook out there. So this is like their secondary social media. So the account, there's profile images that show a smiley face with a Hitler mustache. There's also pictures of Tim Pool on this page that he has. Very odd. And then images of Nazi symbolism, including a faceless. Notice this one's faceless, even though I still think this is him based on his body type, showing a Nazi swastika and an SS tattoo. Okay, so here is the picture that people are showing. There's also another one as well. People are in so there's people like Andy No that has disbelief that this is not accurate, this isn't right. And I'm going to agree. So there's images shared on this Russian page from Tim Pool's show Timcast and Libs of TikTok. So I'm about to get into why this does not make any sense. And yes, Elon Musk also, Jerry Lynn says, Elon Musk also is the one questioning it. This is mentioned in the Snopes. How do we know this is actually his social media account? Seems very odd that he would have a Russian social media account when he doesn't even speak Russian. Exactly. So they're finding this odd. So how do we know that this was his social media? So because, and by the way, his actual social media for Facebook, Instagram had been wiped immediately after the shooting, and no screenshots are being shared, by the way. Also, it's odd in this Russian page that he shows some homage, pays homage to the transgender shooter in Nashville. Very weird that a white supremacist Nazi is going to take that. My initial response to all this, he's a sick puppy. This guy is a sick individual, was a sick individual, and that's it. But the fact that they're only showing this, and might I add with the transgender, and this is a great point brought up by several pundits, why is it that they didn't do the transgender manifesto? Why have we not seen it? They use the guise of, we don't want copycats. Then why are they sharing all this about his social media that's from this Russian site? So they released the name, age, date of birth, and this guy, this New York Times writer and from that media outlet, found that there were several pictures and documents containing the name Mauricio Garcia with his date of birth that is supposedly linked to this page. They also saw the acronym RWDS, which you've heard me talk about, Right Wing Death Squad, that was reported by the NPR. So they're thinking that this is his modus of operandi. So the picture of a flak jacket with this patch was uploaded to the Psychovision 5 profile on April 21st. So again, this is the profile that is just miraculously came out of nowhere for this Russian site. And Bellingcat reported the owner of the profile shared evidence suggesting he'd already chosen a target for the mass shooting. So how do we know that the tattoos belong to him? And I'm going to get back to this in the image in a second. The early doubters asserted the photograph of the man's chest with SS and swastika tattoos were not necessarily that of Garcia. Picture was shot from the neck down, contained no face. I'm going to go ahead and disagree. I think this is him. I think it's Facebook. I think it's Photoshop. A debunking of this argument, they love this word, of this argument. Guys, I'm just realizing there's 4 likes. The way we get more people watching is by hitting the like button. Everybody smash the like button right now. Hit the hearts. Do all the things you can. Please help out with that. Debunking of this argument provides final proof that the man responsible for the shooting is the same man with the Nazi swastika on his chest. And then the man with the swastika is the owner of the OK profile. That doesn't actually prove anything. This is just a assumption of fact. That's all this is. So they're going to use this tattoo, right? They're going to use this image right here, which is tied to one of his tattoos, which is right here. So it's 10-6, which is a Mad Hatter tattoo. The Mad Hatter 10-6 is essentially a sign of like lunacy. Like it's a sign of, trust no one, believe nothing. So that matches on somebody with severe mental health issues. You could Google what 10-6 means. It's Mad Hatter. Let me look it up. I was looking it up earlier, and I'm like, 10-6 Mad Hatter meeting. Allison Warner, what does it mean? Why is it here it is. Of course, this is odd. Can't they just have an easy answer, for God's sakes? 10 shillings and sixpence. The meaning's explained in chapter 10, the Mad Tea Party, as in the book. It's actually talking essentially about mental illness. It's essentially just saying nothing is what it seems. Label on the hat of the character means 10 shillings and sixpence. Meaning is explained in chapter 10 of the book. The Mad Hatter used to carry about hats to sell, and even the one he's got on his head is meant to be sold. You see, it's got its price marked with a 10 and a 6. That means 10 shillings and sixpence. That's a funny way of selling hats. Essentially, everything makes no sense. The world as we know it makes no sense. That is the 10-6 meaning. All right. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit further, and then I'll go back and forth to the images. So the D on the hand, that's a sign. I know I'm from Dallas. That's a sign of Dallas Parks and Recreation. Random. So here's the guy's face again, and they're matching the Punisher tattoo that you see right here up with the Punisher tattoo with the 10-6, which therefore then links to where the swastika is. Great. I do believe this is his body. No doubt whatsoever in my mind, this is his body, even though there is no head shown. Okay. So let's go back to these images. First off, I want to look at this by itself. I've tried matching up some of the imagery on it. But first off, if this is a fresh tattoo, and I mean, you look, this is what a tattoo with some shading. It's a little bit of worn. So this would have to be a super fresh tattoo. As somebody that has experience in Photoshop, these outer lines that you see right here, like where my arrow is, it could be a sign of it being raised. Like that's what Chad Prather said. Like this shows that it's probably raised, which a new tattoo would have. Or it's a Photoshop, because it's almost like they're doing a little bit extra work blending this image in a way that kind of bothers me. And also, typically, if it's a pretty fresh tattoo, it would carry like a red image for a little while. And there's nothing red. Triple D hand logo is more. No, Casey, yes, the Triple D is an old school Dallas logo, but the stuff on the inside is actually looking very. It's the Dallas Parks and Recs, whatever. So yes, and also this is a supposed white supremacist that left Dallas, that has a ton of people of color, and went to a suburban area and killed Asians and white people, and I think in a Mexican, like. Yes, but white supremacy makes sense. Okay, so here's the SS that I don't believe is real. Most of the arm would look red depending on how fresh this is. Absolutely. Casey says it best. I'm bringing this back up. So sorry. Most of the arm it should still be red. If it's still raised like this, I would think to see some red there. This looks like the epitome of a Photoshop tattoo. I'm going to try to bring up, let me see if I could do this. Actually, let me do it down here. I want to bring up, and while we're at it, I'm going to scroll back up to this. And again, to get the angle of this correct is pretty difficult. So this is in my opinion, some pretty good Photoshop work. This is also not a very high quality image. This has just the right amount of DPI or resolution, the DPI and resolution to make sure that it doesn't look overly real. Also, his tattoo artist is very good up here. Like the lines are perfect. We'll get into the swastika in a second, but I want to see if I can get some images of new tattoo photos. Let's see. Let me see if I can get a good one. Images. Okay, this is a good example. This is a very good example. It's also a high quality image, which makes a difference. All right, I'm going to go ahead and swap the images that I have up. I'll go back to that one in a second. So let's go ahead and look at just a bunch of new photos, new tattoo photos. So here you go. First off, look at the edges. Look at how the edges look. It just doesn't look anything like what you saw there. There's definitely some redness. The actual like skin has some like showing through of ink on something like this. Again, this is a high res image, so it's going to look a little bit different. Let's see what else we can find. Here's a small one with some writing. So let's look at this and just how it looks around the tattoo. I'm going to see if I can find a I mean, and just the actual quality of the ink just looks different. So let me see if I can get a poor resolution photo on any of these. If there's anything that's worse resolution. Hmm. This is no, it's a little. Okay, here you go. That's a good one. A little darker, no light. Still much sharper lines. Does that tattoo that we just looked at from the other picture look anything like this? Like, do the lines, does anything look anything like this? I don't think so. Now we're going to look at the swastika one. We're going to go back to the swastika. And again, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying there's enough questions here all the way back from the source of this being from some random Russian page so that it perfectly fits a narrative that they're looking for. I don't know. It doesn't seem quite right. So let's go to the one. So let's look at this. So remember, this guy's got some really good tattoo work. Like, look at the imagery on that. And by the way, that those edges, that's part of the design on this. So when he got this tattoo done, it's still very smooth with proper edges that fit a design. Now let's go back up to this. Am I on cuckoo pills here? But like the edges are a little jagged. This like nut, it just doesn't look right. I mean, even this, like this discoloration to me is when you use a rubber stamp tool. When you're doing something and you're trying to fix it and make sure you have the mole here, the mole there, and the mole there, which he does have in another photo. Let's see where the moles are. Where are the moles? It's got a moles, I think, in an old picture. Might be in this one. Yeah. So this picture, he doesn't have the tattoo in this photo when this one was fresh, but you can see mole number 1, mole number 2, and mole number 3 up here. It's pretty decent length. So let's go right back up here. So this one I feel like should be closer to up here. But again, the fact that I'm seeing a miscoloration, a discoloration here from somebody with a lot of Photoshop experience doesn't look right to me. So you've got this, you've got the moles that match the side, and again, even the image, it just doesn't. It almost looks raised. I can't zoom in. I can zoom in a little bit more. Like this looks odd to me. Casey, maybe Nazi tattoo like that. I don't know. So I just want to look at this from a perspective of, unless he clearly must have got a new tattoo artist that is not as good as his previous tattoo artist. He randomly decided to get on this Russian social media app that is not just for Russian people, but it's only in Russian. So again, only in Russian. And yeah, even this, I agree. Well, this just looks pixelated because it's a low quality image. I think it's incredibly convenient that he's using such a low quality image. And I love it on the Snopes, the page that's supposed to be dedicated to truth. For example, the one of the 10-6, potentially a reference to the Mad Hatter. There's no other reference. Like, there's literally no other reference. It's just on a reason. You're funny today, Casey. So let's see. It was, of course, reported first by New York Times. But there's all of this, like to give the true to, there's really no evidence that points to this being 100% on point. Yeah, Amy. So coming from somebody who has many tattoos, I've never seen a black ink that stays that dark. So that's the other thing. So again, I think this looks incredibly fake. Like this looks ridiculously fake on this one. But it'll be that dark right after you get it done. Maybe. And if it's that dark, it is going to be red for a long period of time, a very long period. And it's also, last thing, I think it's odd that he's essentially sitting in the exact, like, it's almost the exact, I want to see something. Go back to this. Well, we can't see the couch in the background. I'm also curious I want to, here's what I really want to know. He didn't take this picture. So who took this picture? I think this would be somebody that you'd want to start trying to find at this point. This has to be relatively new. This image, I think you should probably track after him. But to me, this looks like a very similar day to this image right here. I mean, yeah, it's a little more faded there, but granted, this looks fake. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, similar pose, sitting on the same chair, just seems a little too perfect for me. Let me know if you agree. Yeah, Casey, Hunter Biden took this picture. Yeah, so that little thing in the middle, Casey, is the Parks and Recreation. So again, he must have got this very fresh tattoo pretty recently. This inner right arm. So posted this 10-6 tattoo that showed his opponent. This was in March of 2022. March of 2022, he posted that photo. Are they saying when this one was posted? Or is this the one posted on April 21st? So right before. Flak Jacket, Psycho Vision 5, April 21st. So this was posted again about 2 weeks before the murders happened. And he just so happened to have this really fake looking tattoo with the even faker looking SS tattoo. I mean, these outlines are so, like, even this little weird doubled up area, that's like sometimes an error you can have if you are trying to mess with opacity to make it look as real as possible. Here's another example of just imperfect lines that, like, his other tattoo artist didn't do. I don't know. Hang on, the hand tattoo isn't a picture of. Yes, Casey, but that is what Dallas Parks and Recreation. Before I get done with this live, I'm gonna go ahead and check it. Dallas Parks and Rec logo. What was their old one? Maybe it's the old Dallas logo. I know that I see that in Dallas Park. So that might just be the old Dallas logo. You're probably right, Case. I'll go ahead and give you on that one. I've just seen it in like the in the park, and when I've gone running, when I used to run downtown. So that's when I'd see it. So yeah, it's the old Dallas City logo. My fault. That's the old Dallas City logo. You're right. That's it, guys. I can't, as somebody that has experience in Photoshop and somebody that is adept to realizing that everything that we see in here is complete and utter garbage. I have to call this out. Now, again, I talked to Chad Prather and we talked about it briefly, and he's like, yeah, it could be real. Like, it could be a real tattoo and just could be new. But there's nothing believable about this whole story from point A to point Z. If you didn't get to watch it, go from the beginning to the end and watch and give it a shot. Last thing, guys, if you are from the Dallas area or want to come in for this, we have just decided to do a lowest level ticket. So the GA is getting bumped up. You guys are going to be getting for the Great American Summit. You guys are going to be getting the goodie bags. And then we have now added, because we want as many people to come to this as possible. We're trying to make it accessible for everyone. We have now added a super general admission ticket that is $50. $50 to come to this event. And it is a 3-day event that starts on the 1st with Dr. Peter McCullough, all the way to the top. Guys, please take some time. Take some time. If you have a chance, go to the website, go to greatamericansummit.com. And even past that, GAS 23 gets you 10% off. So that would be like $45 for the lowest level ticket. You get to attend, you get to be a part of it all. You just don't get any goodie bags or anything like that. And you don't get any preferential seating. People that have bought tickets for the general admission, we still have those available. That is a better seating. VIP is the best. That's it. Plain and simple, guys. Again, let's do it. As Casey says right there, let's go. And I'll see you guys there. If you like the new hats, make sure you're checking out the website, awakenotwokestore.com, awake for 15% off. I'm actually hooking up Bobby Sauce with one of these tomorrow because I will be going to Miami to watch Clay Clark. Speaking of Clay Clark, less than 30 minutes away. Watch it on Facebook, on all the Facebook channels between Blunt Force Discussion and Truth Will Set You Free. Take it easy, guys. God bless. There is the link. Bye-bye.